It's 8:30. Good morning, I'm Ian Crouch with Hunter News. Police are urging anyone with information about the death of a woman whose body was found on Nobby's Beach yesterday to contact them. A post-mortem will be carried out today on the woman, who's been identified as a 45-year-old from Mayfield. Her half-naked body was found on the water's edge at about 6 o'clock yesterday morning. Inspector Michael Gorman says police hope to have the results of the post-mortem by this afternoon.
If anyone has any information, may have seen anything or been in the area of Nobby's Beach between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, if they could contact Newcastle detectives or Crime Stoppers, 1800 333 000. It may not have seemed unusual at the time, but at this stage we're looking for any information to help progress the investigation.
A Dora Creek man remains in a Sydney hospital following a home invasion early yesterday. The 32-year-old was bashed by two men with a piece of wood before they threw a pot of boiling water over him. He's now in the Royal North Shore Hospital with second-degree burns and bleeding on the brain, while police are still looking for his attackers. The Newcastle Cycleways movement will soon meet with Newcastle Council to discuss the future of cycling in the city. They've been given a chance to put forward their own initiative for improving cycleways, with Council voting to hold a public voice session. Greens councillor Therese Doyle says it's important to hear directly from community members who are passionate about Newcastle and its sustainability.
There's pretty cross-factional support for cycling. It's very important to get people active, and it's very important to develop alternative forms of transport. So the emphasis of the whole strategy is on safety, is on ordinary people being able to ride.
Police aren't ruling out further raids in the Hunter following the discovery this week of an alleged bikie drug ring. More than $1 million worth of drugs were seized in the raids, while the Gladiators clubhouse at Maitland was dismantled. Meanwhile, the stepdaughter of one of the gang members arrested has told the Herald the clubhouse was unfairly targeted and gutted. The state government is lending a helping hand to Hunter businesses in understanding the tenders application process. Regional developments have prompted the free half-day workshop today at the Bradford Hotel, Rutherford. Minister for Trade and Investment and Regional Infrastructure, Troy Grant, says it'll debunk some of the myths surrounding the process and equip business owners with the skills necessary to succeed.
This is about the preparations of sometimes the daunting large tender process to take away some of the myths about it and also take away some of the fear about it. So they'll be taken through step by step on how their awareness of the process can improve and the sort of things they need to think about to get themselves ready to tender and ultimately to be successful.
The Wesley Life Force Suicide Memorial Day is being held from midday today at Foreshore Park. It's an afternoon designed to bring comfort and hope to those impacted by suicide and will include speeches from affected Newcastle residents as well as musical performances and a flower floating ceremony. Wesley Mission CEO Keith Garner says today is also an opportunity for the Hunter community to reflect upon the seriousness of this social issue.
Over 2,000 people in Australia bring their own lives to an end, and in a country as small population-wise as us, that kind of figure every year is quite astounding. And I think people are now saying, we better talk about this. Sometimes people are frightened of doing that because they perhaps feel by talking about it, you make it more possible to happen. Well, of course, that's not true. Talking about it is one of the creative ways in which we help each other.
If you need to speak to somebody, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Now with sport, Madeline Seville.
The Newcastle Jets are hoping for a victory against Perth Glory this weekend, despite having to travel further than usual for an away game. Midfielder Jacob Pepper says they'd like to get a few more points before they play at home in round 5.
You know, we look at our first two performances and we know we can play good football and we know we can win. So we come into round 4 and hopefully expect 3 points.
Charlestown Cricket's English recruit Callum Jackson has been refused entry to Australia due to an incorrect visa. The 20-year-old wicketkeeper was detained at Sydney Airport and later transferred to Villawood Detention Centre. The Sussex player has been sent home to England, where he will need to apply for a working visa before returning. And two of Newcastle's 15-year-old W-League players have been selected for the under-19s national squad to play in Vietnam. Newcastle Jets women's coach Peter McGuinness says he expects teenagers Hannah Southwell and Kobe Ferguson to both be given game time. That's sport. I'm Madeline Seville.
2 NURFM News Time, 26 to 9.